Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I'm just trying to finish something now. Just finishing something. Please welcome. Please welcome. Um, hey, hey, hey. Hello there. Hello there. Who is there? Who is there? Please post me. Please post a comment. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Please welcome. Yes, it's the first time that I'm doing a live. I have wasted more than an hour because I did this live stream already, but it was actually I had not gone live, but I thought I was live, so I did the video already, but it didn't record. So I have learned. It's a learning experience. I didn't know what to do. And please welcome, welcome, welcome to my live. It's the first time I'm doing this. I have no idea how it's gonna go. The first time I did, it didn't run, but I actually went through the whole video. So let's see what will happen this time around. But I think I'm truly live now. My name is Ree the Explorer, and I'm a Kenyan nurse living in Switzerland. I'm living in Switzerland and I'm doing my studies, my PhD studies in Switzerland, and that's why on my channel I talk about Switzerland. I talk about my life in Switzerland, including the PhD life. In today's video, I am in today's video I'm addressing I'm talking about experiences of higher education. I mean, my audience is actually diverse. My audience are not only people who are doing PhDs. There are people above the age of 65, and then there are also young people in universities doing their bachelor's degrees, doing their master's degrees. I have some people doing PhDs who are my audience. I have people who are not doing any educational programs and they are my audience. So I appreciate that. And I want to be able to address or to relate to each one of those. And so today I would like to talk about the my experiences with higher education and also stress and how to deal with that. I want to see who is there. Is there anyone? Is there anyone around watching or listening? Please give me a shout out. Let me know in the comment section if you can hear me. And if you can't hear me, let me know. If you want to know something about me, please let me know in the comment section. And so I want to start by telling you about the PhD that I'm doing. So I'm a nurse by profession, and I'm doing my PhD. Um, my PhD topic is related to the nursing profession. I am researching how abstract nursing competencies can be trained, and so I have done ethnographic field work where I worked as a nurse doing research using ethnographic methods in a nursing home in Switzerland, and I observed how nurses work with all the residents in the nursing home in terms of how they interact with them, and how they actually get to identify their needs and meet them. And I mainly worked with nurses working with dementia residents. So, residents with dementia, residents who were not able to express their needs. And so I looked at how nurses really address them, how nurses interact with those residents with dementia, and how they get to know about their needs and how they get to meet them. And so, by looking at the interactions, observing the interactions, I was able to, or I wanted to observe, like to find out what really happens, what kind of competences that nurses use, and what kind of strategies that they use in order to identify needs and meet them. As you can see, knowing what happens in the interactions is not something that you can really measure, and you cannot predetermine. You can't have like a protocol that tells you what to look for in interactions, because every interaction is different. You're dealing with human beings. Where human beings interact, there are so many factors involved in that interaction, and it's not possible to really know or predetermine what might happen in that interaction. And using ethnographic observation, I was able to observe how nurses dealt with such situations, with certain situations in their interactions. And so it's a complicated matter. We go to school, we study, we acquire master's degrees, even PhDs in nursing. But when it comes to working with patients at the micro level, at the interactional level, we can't really apply all the concepts and theories that we learn in school. We rather try to use different competencies, skills, and strategies to be able to put together all that happens in the interaction, define the needs, and get to meet those needs. And that's my area of research. And so I couldn't do that quantitatively, rather qualitatively, and that's why I used ethnographic methods to really find out what really happens, what the nurses do, and how they do it. So that's about my PhD. And as I said, also as I told you, or as I said in a different PhD, in a different video, there are different PhD programs. There's a PhD by publication, and the classical PhD where you do the academics, and also the um, research project. And so mine is a classical PhD program where I have to do academics, but also a research project. And so this is what I would like to talk about. So my PhD, but also about the experiences of other people doing other study programs like um, bachelor's degrees and master's degrees. So I'm just trying to see in the chat if anyone has written anything. Um, so now my experience has been that um, I'm progressing well. I guess I'm doing the academics, so I'm gaining points, ECT points. So I live in Europe, and in Europe, all the academics, like when you go to the university and study, you get points. After meeting all the requirements of the module, you get points, and those points are called ECTS. I think in the UK they're called Scott Cat points. I don't know, something like that. In the US, I don't know. I think the US has a different system of GPA or something, but here we call those. So, like when I do a module, one module that takes like 100 hours to complete, and I meet all the requirements of the module, I gain like um, one ECTS. So that's what I mean. And so um, someone sent me a text. Let me see. I think it's one of my it's one of my subscribers and who wants to tune in. Super, you are welcome. Patti, you are welcome to my chat. And so I have already acquired some ECTs. I need to acquire 12 mandatory ECTs. I may do much more if I want, but I have to produce 12 at the end. And so I've done so far, I think six, and I have to continue with that. And at the same time, I'm working on my research project, and I will continue doing that. And so there are so many in Switzerland. There are different universities. I mean, um, and each university has its own requirements. There are those universities where one only needs to do a research project and publish papers or also attend the so-called PhD seminars. But there are also those ones like mine where I have to do the academics, acquire academic points from modules, and then attend PhD seminars at the same time do the research project. So it's quite a bit of work. And now, when I go back, let's go back to the basics. What is a PhD? Actually, it's a PhD. PhD is a Greek word meaning love of wisdom. Love of wisdom. And what is that? Oh, I see Patricia's there. Oh, Patricia, welcome. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for tuning in, Patricia. Thank you so much. Aileen was there. I think she's busy at the moment, but Aileen, if you find time, please join back in and just. Oh yeah. Oh, Aileen is also there. Yes, my very good subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting me. Um, Aileen, welcome. Thank you so much for supporting me. Guys, today I'm talking about higher education and stress. Actually, higher education experiences and stress. Uh, but tomorrow I will do another live where I'll be talking about contraceptive methods. Um, I think it's better to do it in a live because then you guys can write your you can write your comments and questions in the chat, and then I can address them. And after the live, I think I will do another video where I show you all those things using pictures and all that. And so please inform your friends and other people who may benefit from the information tomorrow to be ready at around time. But you can also suggest time. Just write me in the comment section. Super. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Please write me a comment if you can hear. And if you can't hear, I need to increase my volume somehow. Now, I was saying that PhD is a Greek word meaning the love of knowledge. So you do a PhD actually after you have done a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and then you come to the PhD. And so it seems that as you go through all these processes going up towards a PhD, you are really loving knowledge. And to do a PhD, it's like the the end product must be new knowledge. So you are aspiring to be the producer of new knowledge instead of the consumer of knowledge. And so the love of wisdom, as a PhD is defined in the Greek philosophy, you love wisdom and you look for new knowledge and pass it on to your community or to your society. That's basically what it is. Many people ask me, especially here in Switzerland, many young people ask me, what is a PhD? Um, in Kenya, in Africa, or in Anglo-Saxon countries, I think there's no question about PhD because this is something that is known. But here, I get asked so many times, like, what is a PhD? Um, and so a PhD is basically that's the highest level of education you can achieve. And um, on my channel, actually, I don't talk only about PhD because my audience is not only people with PhDs. I talk about so many things. I'm an aunt, and I have so many nieces. I'm an aunt to so many girls. And so one of the things that I really would like to talk is empowering women, empowering young girls, but also empowering them with information. Like tomorrow, I plan to talk about contraceptive methods. As you know, this may be a very contradictory topic, but because I'm a nurse, I'm an aunt to so many girls, I will, I really need to address such kind of things. And so I'll be talking about that tomorrow. Because I feel that girls need to be empowered, also boys, but in my case, I have a lot of nieces, and so I would like to empower girls quite a lot, to be able to study, but also to be able to know like what to do with themselves. I'm just checking in the chat. I see yeah, so I will just respond quickly to the message in the chat. Uh, uh, yeah. So you're very welcome. I see Patty and and Aileen there, and Dorcas might also be seeing. Hello, I send you all a shout out. Are you able to hear me? Please write me a comment if the volume is good enough. So, I was talking about PhD and what I'll be talking about tomorrow. Now, knowing that to do a PhD, you will need to produce new knowledge. I would like to quickly talk about what it entails. So, before you get yourself into a PhD, you need to know that you really need to, um, you really need to know like what you want to do. You need to have a passion. You need to find something that you're passionate about, a topic that you're passionate about, and a topic that hasn't been researched before, because you need to be contributing new knowledge regarding that topic. And you will need then to do a proposal. You have to write a proposal, and usually it's not an easy thing to do. A proposal is something like a recipe. Like, you have to define in advance, tell people in advance what you intend to do. And so in that proposal, you will need to define your background, like tell people what you need to do, what you want to do, incorporate some scientific literature about that topic, define methods. And here I would like to stress something. When it comes to defining your methods, um, when it comes to defining your methods, you need, uh, sorry, I'm just responding to a message. So when it comes to defining your methods, you have to be so clear about what you really want to do. By methods, I mean you have to define whether your research project will be quantitative or qualitative, and exactly which qualitative methods you want to do, what what methods of analysis you want to do, and many other things. For example, my research is qualitative, and I'm doing ethnographic. I'm using ethnographic methodology, and if you know ethnography, that's a social anthropological method, and it involves participant observation, or it involves some kind of observation. In my case, I do participant observation. By that, I mean I went into the field and became like one of those people working there and worked there while I did my research. So I'm doing ethnography, and I'll be doing, or I'm rather doing grounded theory analysis. And so um, you have to define those methods. Those methods sometimes will not be reversed. So you have to be really sure about. And talking about methods, I think this is one of the most challenging things to do. I see some of my colleagues in the PhD program, they are unable to define exactly, they know what they want to do, but they are unable to define exactly what methods they would like to use. For example, if it's a qualitative method, they don't know exactly which kind of qualitative method they would like to use, what kind of data collection method they would like to use, and what kind of analysis they would like to use. And so I have been able to support a few of my colleagues in my PhD program. And so I would like to urge anyone, if you're doing your research using qualitative methods, whether you're doing your bachelor's degree or master's degree or PhD, please reach out to me and I will be able to support you. Of course, I do not have so much time, but of course, when I support anyone regarding research methods, it's something I always see that it's also a learning curve, a learning way, a learning method for me when I support other people, and I enjoy coaching people. I enjoy supporting people. So just reach out to me, write me a comment in the comment section of this live, but also you can reach out to me using my email address. I don't know. I think my email address is on my channel, and if you can't find it, please do write me a comment here and I will get back to you. Just drop me your email address if you need support with qualitative research methods, and I can organize a Zoom meeting so we can discuss that. So I was saying that to do a PhD, you will need to write a proposal, a convincing proposal. You will need to define your methods. Um, you will need to have a supervisor. Sometimes it's worth having an interview with potential supervisors in order to be able to decide wisely whether you want that person as your supervisor or not, because a supervisor is the person who will determine whether you can finish your PhD or not. And I have to say, you're lucky to find a good supervisor. In my case, I have a good supervisor. Very often I hear people and even colleagues complaining about a supervisor. So take some time to investigate about your potential supervisor and choose wisely, because those people will determine your success or failure. And then you will also need to consider in some PhD programs, you will need to do teaching alongside your research work, and alongside your own studies, you will need to do teaching. And that's really important. And teaching might be teaching a class of junior junior students like master's students or bachelor students, but also you may need to just coach people or supervise master's or bachelor's thesis, and that counts as teaching. In my case, I'm teaching students, but also supervising master's thesis and bachelor's thesis. So that counts as teaching. So in my case, my PhD program requires that I do research, I do academics, but I also teach and supervise master's and bachelor's thesis. And you will need to publish a lot of papers. There are PhDs by publication, and then there are classical PhDs where you do like what I'm doing. But in all of those, you will need to publish a lot of papers. In my case, I will need to publish 4 papers. One, I will be able, as soon as one paper will be submitted and accepted by a journal, I will be able to graduate with my PhD, but I will need to publish 3 other papers. So in total, I will need to publish 4 papers. And publications are not to be undermined or underrated because it can take even up to 1 year just to hand in from handing in your publication can take up to 1 year for it to get published. So it's quite a task. And writing those publications is another issue. It's something that anyway you can learn. There are many courses, transferable skills courses where you can learn how to write publications and how to publish and where to publish. And if you or you also would like to get some of this information, get in touch with me and we can have an exchange. We can share ideas about how you can do that. And so, knowing a little bit like the structure of the PhD, I would like now to see how you can do that PhD well. Please have a look at the university requirements because each university is different, and there are many other issues that no one talks about. Whether you're doing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD, there are several issues no one tells you about. And one of the issues is I am stuck. You are stuck? Yes, I am stuck myself. At this moment, I am also stuck. Getting stuck is something that is really, really, really common in academia or in academic um, when you're studying at a higher level. Getting stuck, it even has a scientific name. I think it's called the writer's block. You get like a big block on your way where you don't know how to get through. At the moment, in my own situation, I am completely stuck. I have been doing data analysis. I am I mentioned briefly that I did ethnographic work and now I'm doing data analysis. I am using a data management software. It's a German system. It's called MaxQDA. It's called MaxQDA. I will write it quickly in the chat. It's MaxQDA. Mhm. But it's also, I think it's also in English language. It's not only configured in German language. So I use it for data management to manage my data, the data I collected, but also to analyze. And sometimes it's not really feasible because I have huge amounts of data. And this is very common that you do field research. It's very interesting to collect data, but you end up with huge amounts of data. You don't even know what to do with it. And so I'm in that situation where I have lots and lots and lots of data. And even in the software, I don't know how to manage that so well. And sometimes I have just to print out some bits of it to analyze manually on paper, and so I proceed a bit. So I have my data there. I am doing grounded theory analysis, meaning I have to develop a theory from my data, a theory about how nurses use competences, or how nursing competencies can be trained, or how to train nursing competencies that will enable nurses to deal optimally with practical situations. Because most of the nursing competencies are abstract, they are taught in class, but when nurses go to the field to work in practical situations, they are unable to apply certain theories and yes, yeah, certain knowledge. They are unable to apply it in practical situations. And so I want to make a theory, or to develop a theory, how nurses, or how nursing competencies can be taught in order to be able to be applied in real life situations. And so I'm a little bit blocked about with how to develop that theory. Developing such a theory needs a lot of back and forth, analyzing data, going back to the field to collect more data, and trying to develop the theory. And so it's just normal that one gets stuck. And how can I get out of that? My strategy is that sometimes I stop working on my PhD. Like one full day, I take a day off and do something else outside. Today, I went out for a walk, and I'm doing a video right now. I'm doing this live because I am blocked. I'm unable to move. And like this, like doing something else gives me motivation to continue with my analysis tomorrow. And so I'm doing something else today, and tomorrow I will continue with the analysis. That's my strategy. I don't know what your strategy is. I don't know what other people do. If you have other useful strategies, please post them in the chat, and I'll be happy to borrow your ideas. And I don't know if I'm the only one getting stuck. I'm stuck at the analysis stage, and I'm sure people could be stuck at any point, be it at the writing point, or analysis point, or at any point in the PhD journey. You can get stuck. Or let's say when I was doing my master's degree, I also got stuck while I was doing analysis, because I thought that everything was interesting, and I went on analyzing and generating codes and new codes and new codes, and I went on, and at the end, I ended up with so many codes. And I realized that I'm doing the same thing with my PhD, that I try to analyze every section of my data, and I've ended up with so many codes, and it's very, very difficult to try to reduce these codes into a smaller amount of category, and finally into one category, which will be my concept or my theory. And so I would like to advise anyone who is doing any form of studies, start slow. Be minimalistic at the beginning, because if you're too ambitious at the beginning, you get overwhelmed on the way with so much information, so much data, you don't know what to do. Be minimalistic. And I think like that, like you start narrow and widen as you go, instead of starting very wide and then it's very difficult to narrow down as you go on. Um, and so no one tells you that you'll get stuck. And once you get stuck, you have to get out. You have to find strategies to get out of that hole yourself, because in many of these studies, you're just all alone. If you're doing a PhD, it's very, very, very likely that you are just all alone. It's better if you're doing a master's or a bachelor's degree because you often have a community around you. Um, I was thinking when I was doing my bachelor's and master's degrees, I had so many people around me. It's like everywhere you find so many people are doing bachelor's or master's degree, and that's why it's impossible that you would feel lonely. But PhDs, I think in Europe is I think research shows that only two out of every 1,000 people are doing a PhD. And so you can imagine it's not so many people in one's community who are doing a PhD. And so it makes it really, really difficult um, to find somebody or to find a peer with whom you can do your studies. You know, it's always easier when you're two or three or a group of people doing the same thing, then you keep motivating each other. But with a PhD, you're just all alone. In my case, I feel really, 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 really lonely. And that's the reality of doing a PhD. And so when you get stuck, you have to find strategies to get out of that hole because it's your journey. You're alone. You have to get out. You may share that with your supervisor, but your supervisor is not your mentor, is not your coach. And so they may not help you as much as you may want. Um, so another thing that no one tells you about is that you are supposed to think a lot. You are supposed to think a lot. Oh my goodness. Every little thing you do, for example, every little, when I'm analyzing the data, every small code, every small section of the data that I analyze, and every code I award to that section, I have to think so much through it. You really have to think, and there are so many books and so much literature that you need to read and think about how relevant all that is to your research project. And so no one teaches you how to think, but it's something that is heavily overlooked. You really have to think. In my experience, I have a very good supervisor, but oftentimes when I go to them and I try to ask something, for example, ask about a code I coded in my data, they often tell me, "Oh, but you have to do it this way, or you have to be sure that that applies or aligns to your project." At the end, you have to be the one thinking. No one will think for you, and anyway, no one can think for you, because if somebody thinks for you and it turns out that it's really not what you intended to do, you will even get more lost. You know, the whole PhD thing is a process, and each part is building up the next. And so you will do the thinking yourself. You will take key decisions yourself. No one will take a decision for you. No one will give you a suggestion, or and even the suggestions that you get from your supervisors, you need to think through each one of them and decide for yourself whether you want to incorporate them or not. For example, one of my strategies is that I try to think as much as possible through everything, and that takes time. And I make decisions what um, about my choices, and I try to stick as much as possible. I try to stick as much as possible with my decisions. They may not be perfect decisions or perfect solutions to things, but I think through them. I have my rationale for why I chose them and I stick with them. And when I discuss them with my supervisors, yes, I listen to them, but at the end, I try to stick as much as possible to my decisions because otherwise it will never end. It will never be um, it will be a never ending story of back and forth and back and forth. At some point, you have to take decisions and stick with them. Listen to everyone, listen to your supervisors, think about all those suggestions, incorporate some, leave out some. And so, leaving out some information is one of the strategies that I've come to learn now because I've been thinking, oh, everything is important. I have to look through everything. Actually, nobody expects that you should look through everything. Nobody thinks that everything is important. Not everything is important, and you have to be able to make informed choices of why you have to leave out certain things and take certain things. For example, I told you a bit about my messy data analysis. So I coded my data and I ended up with over 700 codes. Oh, no. There are over 500 codes. And it's recommended that you should have like 20 codes. And I remember my supervisor told me before, um, when I had something like 20, like 50 codes, my supervisor said, "Oh, you need to reduce them." And then I ended up with over 500 because I was thinking every section of my data is important. Every section deserved a new code, and I coded so much. And now, as I do grounded theory, you start by coding and then you start by reducing those codes into categories. At the end, you need to end up with just one category, which is your overarching theme, which will be your theory. And so reducing the over 500 codes into a smaller number of categories, maybe less than 10 categories, this is gonna take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. And this is something that I've learned. Nobody told me that. Nobody tells you that. And I'm here to tell you start narrow, better start narrow, be very minimalistic. That's my experience because this is one of the things that are stressing me at the moment. Why I'm blocked because I have to think over, I have to think through all mess, this messy data. And so you need to think, you need to decide, stick with your decisions, prioritize. Not everything is important. Not everything counts. Um, leave out things. Learn to leave out things. Learn to say no. Also, learn to say no to your supervisors. I think I am very good at saying no, but I have also learned that there has to be a balance between sticking with my decisions, saying no, and incorporating people's ideas into my own. Because I think supervisors are there because they have a certain level of knowledge, they have a certain degree of experience and knowledge, and so all they are saying or the things they are telling us, they have a lot of importance. So it's important also to be able to discern, like to critically judge what is good and what's not good for my project. Because at the end, it's just you. You have to decide, you have to make choices and stick with your choices and be happy with the be happy with your choices. And that has saved me some time, that has saved me some nerves, that has saved me some stress by just accepting. But you cannot just do things and accept them. You have to think. The thinking process is a very important process behind everything. You must think before you decide and stick with your decisions. I wanna look in the chat and see who is there. Who is there? Who is here? I think Aileen is still there and Dorcas. um, give me a shout out if you're there. Give me a shout out. Give me a shout out. So just let me know what you're thinking about, if this resonates with you, and if not, and also let me know if I should address. Let me know if I should address the issue of contraceptives in tomorrow's chat. No, in tomorrow's live. Okay, okay. Now, I was telling you about having to think and having to decide. Um, and that not everything is important. You will need to really take critical decisions and leave out certain things and say no to certain things. Oh, the lack of motivation. No one told me that at some point I would lack motivation to do the thing that I love to do most. At the beginning of this video or at the beginning of this live, I told you that I don't know if I told you, but to do a PhD, you need to choose a passionate topic. And imagine you have chosen a passionate topic, you want to add new knowledge about this topic you love so much, but at some point you hit a snag and you lose motivation. My goodness, I can't tell you how many times I have lost motivation. Um, oh my goodness, I have lost motivation so many times. Let me respond to this message. You are not late, very much welcome. Um, happy you tuned in. Yeah, it's very important for me to connect with my audience, and that's why I have to stop a bit and respond to the comments and go ahead. I hope it's okay for you, and if you don't like it, please forgive me because that's my nature. And so I'm talking about motivation. I have to say that I always wanted to do a PhD, and I'm so happy that finally I am doing it. But still, oh my gosh, there are so many times I have been demotivated and I've thought, oh, what am I doing to myself? What did I do to myself? What will I do with this? And of course, having anxiety about, will I ever finish? How will I finish? How will I go through all the academic requirements? How will I do the project, the research project? How will I deal with the people around me? And so motivation has to be, motivation, I think in my experience, motivation has to do with myself, but also with my environment. So depending on who is around you, um, the people around me, I have to say that I'm experiencing so much stress from the people around me. I have a small number of friends who are so supportive, so understanding, that I can tell everything, that the friends who motivate me, but I also have another group of family and friends who tell me, what the hell are you doing with a PhD? What are you doing to yourself? What are you doing to your family? You have to stop it. You are losing your family time. You will never replace this time. Stop the PhD and maybe do it later. Here in Switzerland, you don't need a PhD. I've heard so many things. Even somebody tell me, I know you are very ambitious, But you should put these ambitions behind you and know that you have family. And I really, this is so demotivating because, I'm doing a PhD. It's not like I am digging a gold mine. It's not like I have gold waiting for me somewhere. It's just my life goal. It's just a dream. It's just something I've always wanted to do. And I know it's not for everyone, but the fact that people around try to discourage, I really hate it. I really hate it because that is really demotivating. So I am very often demotivated, but also there are times when I really, really work on my project. For example, over Christmas through to January until last week, I did quite a good amount of analysis because I wanted to present a paper at a conference which happened last week, and I managed to analyze the data and present a paper at that conference, which turned out so well. I put in so much time and I suffer a lot now. I feel so tired, but it was so much worth it to do that. And that's just the nature of PhD. Sometimes you're motivated to do something, and sometimes you're demotivated. And I also got to read somewhere, or did I hear it on the news? I think I read it somewhere that demotivation or a lack of motivation is the number one reason why people don't finish their PhDs. And a very high number of people in Europe do not finish their PhDs. And I told you that out of 1,000 people, two people are doing PhDs. And if about 90% of those people don't finish their PhDs because of lack of motivation, that means that so many people end up actually not attaining their PhDs. And this is the last thing I would like to do, or this is the last thing that I would like to happen to me, not to attain my PhD because of lack of motivation. And so I need strategies to go about people who are negative. I need strategies to go about negativity. As I said, I'm an African woman. I have many, many, many nephews and nieces, or rather, I have a lot of girls who are my nieces, and I really would like to give them a good example. They are girls. In African societies, girls are rarely empowered. It's not like in Europe, women are empowered. In Africa or in Kenya, girls are not empowered. Boys are more empowered. And so I really would like to use my time and my knowledge to empower girls. And so I really want to show those girls that education is key and you can attain it however you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. Of course, there are many constraints, but it's possible to achieve your dreams as a woman, as a young woman. And also, that's the reason that I want to address the topic of contraceptives tomorrow, because those young girls have asked me, and as I have a platform where I can talk about all these things and using my experiences as a nurse, I will be addressing those things. And I would just like to encourage um, all those young girls and boys as much as I can using the wisdom and the knowledge that I have gained so far. Now, motivation is something that I would like to have myself, but also to instill in other people, because a lack of it leads to failure in many aspects of life. Um, Talking about motivation and the lack of motivation during studies, one one strategy that I've learned and I've heard people talk about over and over has been that just try to do any small thing. Just do the little things every time. Like keep working, work. And at the end, all those little bits of work will count. You know, even if I do not want to touch my computer today or touch my data analysis today, I can have a look at a table in my data and just structure and just format that table. Just do one little thing, but make sure that nothing might count towards achieving your goal and having your goal in your eyes. Never lose your goal. This helps me a lot because however much stress I have, whatever difficult situation I may be in, I always think at the end, I always put my goal in my mind. And if you lose that, for sure you lost. And I think having the goal in my mind, wanting to finish the PhD because it's been something that I always wanted to do, is always on my mind. And I think this helps me sometimes, even when I'm completely demotivated, it helps me take my computer and look at it. Um, so every tiny progress, every tiny piece of work that you put in counts, and it's really important. But maybe, I don't know in your situation, I don't know in your context, maybe small amounts of work doesn't count. I really want to tell you that it counts. Those small bits count. At the end, they count. For instance, if you're writing a paper and you don't have motivation, write one line of a paragraph and go out for a walk. Think about it or think about other things. And when you come fresh, sit down and continue from where you left. That line counts. Um, Another thing I really, really, really would like to address is that be proud of everything, every little thing that you do. I take pride in everything I do. Like when I finish writing a paragraph of a paper, I am so happy about it. I haven't published any paper. I don't have any paper ready to publish, but I am doing something already. I've started writing a paper based on the little analysis that I've done. And so I'm trying to be happy each time with what I have achieved so far, however little. And find a hobby. I cannot overemphasize this. Find a hobby. Find something to do. Something interesting. It doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. It can be something like cooking, making a new recipe. Like in my case, each time I like to eat salmon, and so I like to find new ways or new recipes for cooking salmon. And I don't look up recipes online. I try to imagine a recipe and try it out. And it turns out that each time I do um, a new recipe for salmon, be it baking, be it cooking in a pan, it turns out so good. And I feel so happy that during that day, I have done something useful. And so if you think your research project, you haven't done anything useful to your research project, do something else that counts, that makes you happy. And really, that tells your mind that today you have done something that made you happy, and that counts a lot. So in my case, I use cooking, but also sometimes I just go out for a jog for like 20 minutes. It makes me happy. Find something like that, or find a real hobby where you learn something new, or you frequently get out and do your hobby, or do videos. I also found that I actually have started this channel during this PhD period, because I found out that when I sit down and do a video and talk about what's stressing me or what I'm going through or what I've been doing during that moment, it helps me a lot to reflect on my PhD, and it helps me clear my mind. And so you can do something like this: start a YouTube channel, do videos, see yourself on camera, talk about issues. And I'm also very happy because on YouTube I found a community of people who with whom I interact. Um, I write comments, they write comments, I respond to their comments, even if we are not seeing each other live, like we are not seeing each other physically. I feel like being on YouTube is one strategy that is helping me deal with my stress and my PhD stress, because I'm able to connect with people, and people are very kind because I get very, very, very kind remarks, kind comments, kind suggestions. And so I'm really happy. Do something like this. Open a YouTube channel and do videos. One thing um, I would like to say at the end of this video is that really, if you like to be a part of this community, consider subscribing to my channel. Please subscribe, share my videos, like them, comment, because this will help um, take my videos far and wide. And if it's useful to you, if some information is useful to you, please share it, pass it on to other people so that it may help them as well. And most importantly, I really like to connect with other people. Please write me comments, reach out to me through email or through comments. I read every comment and I respond to every comment. And so please reach out to me and let us connect. Please subscribe. This will be very, very, very useful for my channel. Thank you very much. I hope I've responded to H1's comment, and if I've not, I will check the chat after this and I will respond to each and every comment. And so no worries about that. And please share this video. If you did not manage to join into the live, please watch the video later. I will post it on my page. Have a look at it later, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow, where I will be discussing contraceptive methods. It's not only for girls. I think it's also important information for boys, and so please, you're very welcome. See you. Thank you for tuning in today, and see you tomorrow, same time. Bye bye. Bye bye for now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to drink water the whole time. Bye bye. Oh, I see some people joining in. Who is joining in now? I think I will stop it for today and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay.